6-foot package, explosive, a leader, 2 years at Syracuse, and he'll get you out of your seat at least once a game.
Yeah, he likes to have, he's kind of a pass second mentality. He loves to score. That's a challenge.
The 2009 NBA Draft. It was one of the most important drafts in modern NBA history. A very deep class that created a lot of stars, a plethora of role players with very long careers. A draft that included Blake Griffin, James Harden, Steph Curry, DeMar DeRozan, all within the top 10 picks of the draft. It included some massive busts like Hasheem Thabeet and Jonny Flynn. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today let's talk about the 6th overall pick of this NBA draft, Jonny Flynn, the man who got drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves right before Steph Curry. Who is he? What caused him to get drafted this high to begin with? Was he really considered a better prospect than Steph? And what in the world happened to him afterwards? All those questions will be answered. Before the 2009 draft, Flynn was absolutely considered a phenomenal prospect. He was well known in his hometown of Niagara Falls, New York, dominating everyone at the high school level. In 2007, a senior in high school, Flynn was named Mr. Basketball of New York, a recognition that was difficult to earn, especially with how good the basketball talent of this region was. Then, in his 2 years at Syracuse, he was highly successful in both seasons. As a freshman, he was named the Big East Rookie of the Year, and as a sophomore, he led Syracuse all the way to the Big East championship game, ultimately losing, but Flynn still won the tournament MVP. He would continue his rampage in the NCAA tournament, where he led Syracuse to the Sweet 16. For the 2008-09 college season, Flynn averaged over 17 points and 6 assists. While those seemed like modest numbers, it was his talent and potential that made him stand out. As a smaller point guard, barely 6 feet tall, he was an absolute freak of nature. His quickness and agility in getting to the rim, his explosive first step, and his impressive ball handling caught the attention of NBA scouts. However, the main knock on his game was his jump shot, and the Draft Express scouting report summed it up like this. From a skill standpoint, Flynn shot the ball just okay. His mechanics are fine, and there doesn't seem to be anything broke about his shot, but he didn't seem to be all that consistent with the jumper. In fact, strictly from a talent perspective, Flynn and Steph Curry had completely opposite skill sets coming in. While Curry was renowned for his shooting prowess, the doubters criticized his athleticism and his ability to blow past defenders and finish at the rim, as he wasn't seen as a fast guy who can break down the defense like a true point guard. He was more like a shooting guard. And you gotta remember, back in 2009, many critics were skeptical that Curry's skill set could actually translate to the NBA. Cause being able to shoot as a point guard was not a critical skill, as most teams preferred point guards like Derrick Rose or Russell Westbrook, athletic freaks who could break down defenses. That skill was viewed as being more valuable than Curry's shooting, and that's why Jonny Flynn was a high-tier prospect. As it turns out, as Curry reached his prime, he could do both. He could shoot and break down defenses very successfully. But because Flynn was super athletic and super fast, he reminded everyone of Rose and Westbrook, hence why he was valued very highly. Even so, with all that being said, most mock drafts had Curry going ahead of Flynn regardless. ESPN, Bleacher Report, some even thought Flynn would drop down to 13th. His draft position was very inconsistent depending on who you talk to. But for the most part, he was rated lower than Steph Curry before the draft. So, what the hell were the Timberwolves thinking? The Wolves rated Flynn higher than Curry, one of the few teams who actually did so. The organization had 2 picks within the top 6, and they used those picks to draft Ricky Rubio, who wouldn't come over to the US until 2011, and Jonny Flynn. With the 5th and 6th picks respectively, they were taken right ahead of Steph Curry, who got selected 7th by the Warriors. It's kind of funny when you think about it. They needed a point guard and drafted 2 of them, but neither of them were Steph. They literally had 2 chances to draft a generational talent and yet missed on both. However, years later, former GM David Kahn revealed the true reasons why he took Flynn. The first reason is that he said Curry's father called him and told him to not draft Steph because he didn't want to go there, mainly due to the cold weather. This would be confirmed by Dell himself in an interview in 2016. So if Kahn went ahead and drafted Steph, there was a real chance that he would refuse to play for the team and demand a trade. But I don't think Steph is the type of guy to do that. He's not Steve Francis. If he got drafted to Minnesota, he'd probably play in Minnesota. The second reason was that Flynn greatly impressed the Wolves when he came in for workouts prior to the draft, while Curry, on the other hand, did not even show up to the Wolves' workouts. This is what Kahn said when talking about the events of the '09 draft combine. Flynn made his final move to the top of our charts based on his impressive visit and workout with Tyreke Evans and Brandon Jennings, among others. Curry's absence was duly noted. Rubio wasn't there either, but I thought his passing ability and defense were extraordinary for an 18-year-old and was willing to take the risk I could ultimately recruit him to come. At the time, drafting Flynn made a lot of sense. We didn't have a single point guard on the roster, and our staff has ranked him number 1 among all point guard prospects for not only his on-court play, but also his strong leadership qualities, a significant team need. Now, the 2009-10 season has commenced. Jonny Flynn was immediately inserted into the starting lineup and played quite well. He wasn't amazing, but he showed flashes of star potential, having many games of scoring over 20 points. He played and started in 81 games. However, he didn't impress anywhere near as much as Steph Curry, who outperformed him in every possible way. Regardless, the main problem was, shortly after his rookie season, he underwent hip surgery in that same summer. This would cause him to miss the entire training camp and a significant portion of the regular season as well in the following year. So, what looked like to be a promising rookie season turned out to be the only good season of his short-lived NBA career. In the following years, his numbers plummeted, his minutes plummeted, and he got traded twice, to Houston and then to Portland. At the age of 23, he would play his final NBA game, despite multiple efforts to make a comeback, jumping from the G League to Europe to China. Every time he tried to make some progress, he would suffer another injury, setting him back even further. This included an injury in 2013 he suffered in China while playing for Sichuan, causing him to leave the team after just 1 month of playing. Then in 2014, he was playing in Italy and suffered another injury after just 2 games. That was the last time we've heard anything about him. Looking back, in hindsight, it was a terrible decision by the Wolves. However, in reality, if Curry never wanted to play for them in the first place, it makes sense why they didn't draft him. However, there were other options in that class. Drew Holiday, DeMar DeRozan, Ty Lawson, even Jeff Teague would have been an infinitely better choice. They all got drafted within the top 20, but the Wolves were too tunnel-visioned on Flynn to consider other options. In 163 NBA games, Flynn averaged about 9 points and 4 assists, 40% shooting, and left the NBA after just 3 seasons. It must be pretty demoralizing to watch the point guard drafted right after you become an all-time legendary player, while Flynn himself has struggled with injuries for basically his entire playing career, and now he's a total non-factor. Nobody talks about him anymore, but he's certainly one of the biggest busts in recent NBA history. Anyway, that's all, folks. That sums up the story of Jonny Flynn. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think he deserved more of a shot to get back into the NBA? Do you think the Wolves and other teams gave up on him too quickly? And if I'm being honest, for a 6th overall pick, he definitely didn't get much of a chance. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.